It's been a really good experience so far. I'm a little bit newer to my experience with Everlong Captive, but they have blown me away with just everything they provided when it comes to the services, the cost containment, the transparency. There's a million reasons why we went to Everlong, but that's really the big ones. Let's actually get to the bottom of what's going on with healthcare, and let's find some solutions that actually matter to the employers and to the employees. For many of my clients, they've actually had better healthcare outcomes because of this. We've had lower expenses as well as better access to care. It's really driven the conversation around healthcare as opposed to just what everyone else is doing. So it's been a big differentiator for me with my clients. Those smaller employers that just don't have access to any transparency, they're a perfect candidate for an Everlong Captive, just because, first of all, getting that information for the first time is a big deal. So if you've got less than 100 employees, kind of that 50 to 100 space, it's a really good option. Also, those employers that 500 employees and below, I feel like is still a really great place to do a captive. For larger employers, maybe not so much, but I really feel that if you've got less than 500 employees, and you're not self-funded, you're not in a captive, you're probably doing something wrong. It's been a great experience. Obviously with healthcare, they're good and they're bad, but what I found is the good is really good with Everlong, but when you have to deliver bad news and you have hard things happening, it's not nearly as bad. I'll give you an example. We've got one client in the captive that this year had a 295% loss ratio within the captive. That's not good, right? Anywhere else, they would have received double, triple premiums. Today, they got a 7.5% increase. And I have never seen anything like that before. So it's completely blown me away. And for the client, it's an absolute lifesaver. This is a great opportunity to collaborate, to actually talk to like-minded employers and think of ideas that they haven't really thought of before. It's also good to know that there's others out there with your same problems. You know, it's really comforting to come across an HR director or a CFO who's dealing with similar things that you're dealing with and actually having solutions. The collaboration, as well as just that camaraderie, the opportunity to kind of bind yourself with people where your destiny together is impacted by one another and what you're doing. It's pretty cool to actually put faces to names, especially in a world that's increasingly digital and increasingly disconnected. The connection, the human piece of what we do is reinforced here, and that's pretty impressive. There's a lot of different captives out there, a lot of different options, and we do work with other captives, but they have stood out as a very unique and a much better experience in many ways. We have other captives that have issues with captive call situations and just lack of transparency, as well as there's some issues with how the contracts work and really the confusing aspect. What Everlong has done is it's simplified, but they haven't lost the advantages of being in a captive and being an owner of an insurance company. And so Everlong has that transparency, the ownership aspect, but it's not overly complex. So I personally see a pretty big difference and find them very unique, even though there's many others who are trying to do similar things. If you're fully insured and you put in a great wellness program, or you encourage your employees to be good stewards of their health care, you're really only helping the insurance company. Maybe your renewal's a little bit better, but you're not really feeling those savings and you're not the beneficiary of making those good decisions. When you move to self-funding, not only do you have the ability to impact, but you have the ability to receive the benefit of those changes, and then you can pass those on to the employees. We have employers that haven't had to raise their premiums on employees in 4 years because they made that choice to say, hey, we're going to do a little bit more work, we're going to take on maybe a little bit more risk, but we're going to have the upside that we really all want. Self-funding, it is not going to fix all your problems, but it's going to give you the power to fix all your problems if you make good decisions. I would argue that it is a huge solution. It's the first solution to get out of that renewal cycle and the ability to take control. In fact, some of the conversations we have with our employers, our clients, our prospects, are you going to be able to afford healthcare in 5 years? When we look at what the trend is doing, most employers say no, or they're going to have to increase costs considerably on their employees or find other sources of revenue or something, right? With the captive, you are taking control and you're seeing these negative trend lines. Will you have a bad year? Yeah, everyone does. But when you think about fully insured, your premiums are most likely never going to go down. But then when you have good years in subsequent years, you're never going to reset or take advantage of that. When you're self-funded, when you're in a captive, you can take full advantage of good years and help smooth out the bad years. It's a powerful tool, and it's going to lead to stability of healthcare expenditure. If you don't do something like this, you're probably in pretty big trouble. Healthcare is extremely important. It's also controllable in ways that employers don't really realize it. And I'd say most people in the broker community chalk it up to, hey, that's just the industry, whatever excuse is on the docket for this year, right? Whether it's tariffs, whether it's the chaos in the world. But we're here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. It does require a little bit of work, a little bit of an investment, but the long-term return will be huge. The dividends will be massive.